Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am following up on my previous video where I talked about my move to Lisbon. I live here in Lisbon, Portugal now, and I got a lot of comments. A lot of people messaged me privately or sent me a text or actually called me on the phone to ask their questions. And so I'm coming back to give you guys more details, answer some of your questions, and just kind of give you guys an update on this whole move to Lisbon, Portugal. I actually wrote down some notes because I kind of want to try to cover as much as I can. So this video is going to be a little bit longer, so buckle up and get ready. All right, so why I moved to Lisbon was one of the first questions. I just kind of briefly touched on some things in my first video, but I want to kind of give a little bit more detail about why I moved to Lisbon. One thing was I wanted a slower pace. I wanted to move somewhere where it was just like a slower pace. I mean, obviously, you know, in the US, it's just like hustle and bustle all the time. Everybody's kind of rushing. It's always a million things to do. Kind of hard to just chill out and kind of go with the flow. So I was definitely looking for a place where nobody's in a rush. Things are slow. And there are pros and cons to wherever you live. So I wanted to move somewhere that was a slower pace. And just, you know, you can take your time. I've seen a lot of posts and people kind of talk about how when you go to dinner in Europe, not just here in Portugal, but typically anywhere in Europe, like you really can take your time at dinner. Like there is no time limit on your table. You know, the waitstaff just kind of expect you to enjoy your dinner, enjoy your conversation with whoever you're with, and that kind of stuff. There's no rush. You really can take your time here. So I like that. I like the slower pace. Another thing that I liked about Lisbon was the diversity. I mentioned that in my previous video. I love seeing people that look like me. I wanted to live somewhere where I'm not the only brown girl there. So I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to live somewhere where it was easy to say like the brown girl and everybody in town knows who they're talking about. So that's not the case here. It's a lot of brown people here, a lot of people that look like me. But like I think I mentioned, it's you know, definitely a bunch of different cultures here that have moved to Lisbon. So I do like the diversity here. It was a major factor for me. And feeling like I can belong here, I can be a part of the community here. I'm not the only person that looks like me. So that was major for me. Obviously, the food quality, I'm a foodie. I love food. So the food quality here is good. Things are fresh, not some of the processed and ingredients that we find in foods in the U.S. So things are really fresh. They don't last long, but I'm okay with that because they don't really have the preservatives and things like that. So the food quality here is great. I love having fresh breads and pastries and meat and all those things. So again, I am learning to buy for just, you know, the day or two what I'm going to eat for dinner tonight and tomorrow or the next day, and that's it. Because everything's fresh, so it's a little different. Does take some getting used to, but I like it. It's, you know, something that I definitely want to embrace. And then I just want a different experience. So I think a lot of times we think that the way we live is like the right way, or we only know that way. And so I definitely wanted to live in another country just to have the experience of what it's like to live somewhere else. I was recently, my son is in Ibiza, Spain on vacation right now. And so in his travels, he and I were talking and he mentioned something, an experience he was having that was weird. And I was just like, it's not weird, it's just different from what you're used to. Like, who said the way that we do it in the US is the right way? It's just the way we do it. And if you haven't been anywhere else, you don't know that they're doing it differently somewhere else. And so it's not weird, it's not wrong, it's different. And so I wanted to live somewhere where some things are different. And some of it is gonna take some getting used to. And some of it, you know, I will like, some of it I won't like. But again, I think that, you know, it's easy for us to think the way that we do it is the right way. Funny story is, you know, I'm what, 12 days in now here in Lisbon, but they don't have like window screens. Like, I'm not gonna say they don't have. When I say they don't have something here, it's not like absolute truth. Like, they might have it, it just might not be a commonplace thing. So typically, the places don't have window screens. And so my apartment windows don't have screens on them. So, in the US, we got screens on our windows, but here we hang our clothes outside the window, which is a whole other story because I haven't hung clothes on the line since I was probably about 15. So 35 years since I hung clothes on the line. So my apartment has a washer that I just assumed was a washer dryer combo, but it's not. It's just a washer. So I had to hang my clothes on the line. And I was just like, gosh, I have not hung clothes on the line, like I said, since I was a teenager. So that took me back a little bit. But anyway, so we don't have screens on the window. So when I was here in May, I came for a week just to kind of handle some logistics. And I was telling my sister when I got back, I was just I was in a place and there were flies, in the place, things were flying around. And I was swatting, and when nobody else was swatting, it was the flies just were not bothered. They were completely unbothered by the flies. Now, at home in the US, when we would get a fly in the house, it was announced, it's a fly in here. And priority number one was to get that fly out or to swat that fly, kill that fly, whatever. Here, the folks are unbothered by the flies. Now, again, I think I'm about day 12, day 13 here. Again, no screens on the windows. Your windows just open. Flies come in. They roam free. They go back out. They're not overtaking your house because they got, free reign. Your house ain't the only house they want to be in. They got all the houses to kind of explore. So fly come in and go out. You cannot leave food out. I don't leave food out. At home you could, fix you some dinner and leave the dinner out on the stove. No, you can't do that here. But it's funny because I haven't even been here that long and I'm bothered by the flies. I don't try to swat. Just go have your way. I don't try to swat the flies. I let the flies be free. But the folks are unbothered by the flies. The windows don't have screens, and that's just how we living over here. So anyway, so things are different, but not weird, just different. So I'm kind of learning that. Another question I got asked was, do I still work? So yes, I do still work. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you my backstory of what I'm doing now as far as work. So, I don't know where I want to start. So, for a long time, I worked for a consulting firm in the U.S. That was based out of Northern Virginia, and a long time. So I started working at the firm in 2005 as an instructional designer. I lived in Maryland at the time. I was with my first husband. I got divorced. And when I got divorced, I met with my manager and was just I'm getting a divorce, and I was relocating to Virginia, going back home to Virginia. And my manager was like, okay, no worries. Take your laptop. You can work remotely. Everything you do is you need to do it from the computer. You don't really have to come into the office. So this was in 2009. I moved from Maryland back to Virginia, and I bought a house in Midlothian, raised my kids in Midlothian, Virginia, worked remotely, and I often tell people I was working remotely long before COVID ever hit. So worked remotely, which I'm so grateful for because it afforded me the opportunity to raise my kids as a single mom. They never had to do before and after care. If they were sick, it wasn't a big deal. I was home. If it snowed and school closed or whatever the case may be, it was never an issue. It gave us the best life. It afforded me the opportunity to travel with my kids. We did amazing things, took amazing trips. And just kind of never missed a beat. If you've been following me for a long time, I used to take Chick-fil-A to the school for lunch, on a regular basis. They would text me, be like, Mom, can you bring Chick-fil-A? So I was doing regular Chick-fil-A runs. We really had a really, really good, I had a good life raising my kids as a single mom. And so this job really afforded me the opportunity to be present and active in my kids' lives as a single mom. And like I said, afforded us a really good life. So anyway, so I worked from home for a long time. And then, again, COVID hit, still got the same job. I worked at this company for 19 years and I think 8 months or something, really almost up to 20 years. Long story short, the last year when the new administration was coming into office, I supported government contracts in this role at this job. So I supported government contracts. At the time of the election, I was supporting a contract, or had been supporting a contract that was related to government health care. And so when the election happened and the results came out, I knew that the contract I supported was not going to be supported by the administration. And so I knew that funding would probably be cut. And typically for any contract I had been on in the length of my time at this firm, I knew that training was not a priority for a lot of government agencies. It was almost, in a lot of ways, one of those things that agencies did as a compliance requirement, kind of to check the box. I did have some clients that valued training, but it was not always a priority on every person's list. So anyway, so the particular contract I was supporting, again, was related to government health care, and I knew that that was not a priority for the new administration that was coming to office. So I kind of got my head right, like, okay, they probably will cut some funding for this particular government client that I was supporting. Inauguration happened, and I pretty much, like, I kind of told my team, like, hey, y'all, y'all know, things are changing, like, we got to kind of get ourselves together. So kind of, like I said, got in my head that there was, and a lot of government agencies, like, shut down right after the inauguration, if you guys remember. So January of last year, 2025, let me back up again, sorry. So I also had another business where I was doing training on my own. And if you looked at my video, maybe you might have seen some old videos I posted from my own company. It was called Instruction Matters, where I was doing some private contracting for different small businesses and things like that, supporting training efforts there. So anyway, fast forward January 2025, I was at a networking event for my own business, Instruction Matters. I was at a networking event. Everybody gets up, talks about their business, and kind of gives a spiel about, what they're looking for as far as clients and things like that. At this particular meeting, another person there stood up and he said he was looking for people who wanted to switch careers and still make a lot of money. And that was pretty much all he said. Now, I was familiar with the guy. After the meeting was over, I gave him a call because at that particular time, my husband was looking to change his career, was looking for new work, and wanted to kind of shift from what he was doing at the time. So I called the guy up. Hey, you stood up in a meeting. You said that you were looking for people who wanted to change their career and still make a lot of money. Can you tell me more about what it is you're looking for? So he gives me this spiel about being a mortgage loan officer, doing some mortgage brokerage stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay. So, I get, take the information and I share it with my husband. Now, my background is English. I was an English major undergrad in education, like I'm an instructional designer, those kind of things. Mortgage loans and things like that ain't really my, I'm like, that ain't my thing. Like, that's math. Like, I'm not a math girl. So, I can count money, but I'm not really like a math girl. So, my husband, on the other hand, could do like equations in his head, like could do the math. So I'm thinking maybe he would be interested. So I tell him about it. He's just like, nah, it's not what I'm not interested. I don't want to do it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now, didn't think this was for me. Like I said, I got the information because, wanted to kind of share it with him. But I couldn't shake the thought of it from my head. Like, I just kind of like stayed with me, even though I kind of felt like, nah, that wasn't for me. So that was January 2025. February 2025, I flew home for my niece's baby shower. And on the way back, on my flight back, I didn't have a seat assignment. And so I'm pretty much an introvert. On a flight, I like to have the window seat because I want to lean my head and I want to close my eyes. And I really don't want people talking to me on the plane. So on the flight back, I didn't have a seat assignment. Get to the airport and they give me a seat assignment and I'm on the aisle seat. And I got to take what I can get. So I'm on the aisle seat and I'm sitting beside a young man and he talked to me the whole flight from Richmond to Florida to Orlando. He talked to me the whole flight. But I actually enjoyed his conversation. He was very engaging. So we talked. And so we're talking the whole flight. I mean, I don't even know. You just kind of like small talk, just talk, kind of jumping subjects. And as he's talking, he said he was a mortgage loan officer. And I'm like, no way. Like, what are the chances of that? Because like I said, this thing is kind of sitting in my spirit and it's just like unsettled. Like, why am I still thinking about this or whatever? And so he says he's a mortgage loan officer. So he just said in casual conversation, like I didn't ask him what he does and he didn't ask me what I do. He just kind of said it in his casual conversation. So I was just like, wait, what? Like, did you just say you're a loan officer? And he was just like, yeah. And so I was just like, tell me, how's it going for you? Like, what you like, what you don't like. So he gives me the spiel and I'm just kind of listening, taking it all in. I'm like, okay, God. Like I said, this ain't even supposed to be my seat. I'm supposed to be at a window seat with my eyes closed, nobody talking to me. I'm here. This man beside me happens to be talking to me, and he's a loan officer. So I'm taking it. So I get home, and I'm like, okay, let me go back to see what it is, because when I had reached out to find out more about what you had, what my friend at the networking event was talking about, he was saying like you got to do this training and you got to take a national test and all this kind of stuff, whatever. And I posted a couple of weeks ago, like that wasn't for me. Like I have a PhD in instructional design, curriculum and instruction, and anything that my PhD can't get me, I'm like, that's a job I don't need. Like what else could you need to have to get a job? I mean, what more can you have than a PhD? So I'm like, whatever I need that this PhD won't get, I'm not doing that. So anyway, for this mortgage loan officer thing, you had to do like all these hours of training. You had to pass this national test. And so, again, he was like, you got to pass the national test. It's not an easy test. People typically don't pass it on the first time. He was like, I have been in the mortgage industry for years and I still had to take the test like 3 times. So, just don't get discouraged if, you take the test and you don't pass. So anyway, so I get home. This is February 2025. I get home. I look into what this training is like. And I'm trying to figure out like, when can I do it? When do I have time to do it? Because I still got a full-time job. When do I have time to do this training and take this test? And so I look on the calendar and I think it was like a holiday coming up. And I was like, I'll sign up for it and try to do it like over the long weekend or something like that. Or like over like with the holiday in my schedule. Sign up for the training and I sign up for the test immediately after I sign up for the training. So I'm doing the training on like a 3-day, you could do the training in like 14 days, 7 days, or 5 days or something like that. I signed up for the shortest amount of time, which was like the 5-day or 3-day or something like that. So it was 3 days. So I took the training on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I signed up to take the test on Saturday. Get into the training. I do it all at the same time. Sign up for the training, sign up for the test. Right then. Get into the training, sign in, and the first video, it's an online training. The first video, the instructor comes on and says, hey, you're gonna have, this training is to prepare you for the national exam. Don't sign up for the exam for at least 30 days after you finish the training because we won't be able to cover everything you need to know on the exam in this training. You'll need to do some additional studying. Well, I had already signed up for the test and you couldn't like unsign up for the test. So I'm like, oh, okay. But I was like, he said everybody, people don't typically pass the test on the first time. So that I'll let it be my dry run on the test. So I do the 3 days of training. I go to the test on Saturday and I pass the test. So pass the test. I'm excited. I actually called the guy who put me on with this, and I was like, I passed the test. And he was just like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know anybody who's taken the training and passed the test and, just been ready to go this quickly. So I'm excited. I passed the test. Now this is March, like February, March of 2025. So I get licensed as a mortgage loan officer and go up under my friend who had put me on at the networking event on this whole path. Now I still have my full-time job. I'm a licensed mortgage loan officer. And so it's, things you gotta learn. It's a new position. It's all new stuff, things you gotta learn, but I still got my full-time job. So kind of dabbling here, dabbling there, but I also, again, I'm telling my team at work, like, hey, you guys know our days are numbered. They're gonna cut funding. Training is always gonna be the first thing that gets cut when funding gets cut on a contract. So fast forward to our contract was actually paid up until June, so we were good. We knew we were good into June, July, but then we didn't know what was going to happen after that. Fast forward to June, they kind of let us know, hey, the contract funding is getting cut. The training team won't make it to the next contract extension. Okay, so July comes. They're like, if you can find another contract, great. If you can't, they can't keep you if they can't. They're not getting paid for you. So July comes, there's nothing open. So many government agencies got cut last year, the beginning of 2025. Like, there were no other contracts to go to. So essentially, I got laid off from this job. Like I said, I had been there for 19 years and some months. And again, no hard feelings. Like, the company was great to me, afforded me a great lifestyle, afforded me the opportunity to be a great mom and be present again with my kids and just raise them well. And so I am grateful. But again, when the funding got cut, they did what they had to do. We got laid off. So training team got laid off. And then this is July. My last day was August 1st of 2025. I closed my first loan August 27th of 2025. And I say that because I became licensed in March, but I didn't have the time to focus on that. Like, my attention was split. I didn't have time to focus on that. But as soon as that got out of the way, I ran. Like, I was gone. Like, I closed that first loan that same month and kind of ran from there. I'm so grateful because I said before, like, living in another country has always been my dream. I've always loved to travel. My job that I had at the time, while it gave me the resources to do a lot of things, it also restricted me in that I worked on government contracts that did not allow me to work outside of the U.S. So whenever I did travel outside of the U.S., I had to take off because you couldn't take your laptop outside of the U.S. Fast forward to, I got laid off from that job and slid right into my role as a mortgage loan officer, which does not restrict me to only working inside the U.S. And so it was like okay, God, I see what you did there. Like, I see what you did. Now, I got crazy faith. That's my thing. I tell people anyway, I got crazy faith. Like, I believe God for everything, on everything. When it works out for me, I trust Him. When it doesn't work out for me, I trust Him. So, like I said, when I got laid off, didn't shed a tear. I didn't drop one tear. I had been in the company for 19 years. Probably should have been left, but God was like, you ain't gonna leave on your own, so I'm gonna go ahead and have to push you out. Didn't shed one tear because I was like, God got a plan. Like, I know He got me. Like, I have no worries. Slid right into my mortgage loan officer position. Like I said, last day at that company was August 1st. I closed my first loan in that August, that same month, and kind of ran from there. Crazy thing was, I had already booked a trip prior to getting laid off. I had already booked a trip. I was going to Bali and Hong Kong in October. Went to Bali and Hong Kong. I took calls with clients while I was in Hong Kong. It was a time difference. I think it was 10 p.m. in Hong Kong. It was 10 a.m. on the East Coast. I'm on a Zoom with a client who wants a loan. So I'm working, and I closed the loan while I was in Bali. Like, I'm working and, again, living my dream, like just kind of traveling, being in another country, no worries. So really, really grateful for that. So again, I'm doing mortgage loans, which is allowing me to travel outside of the country and still do that. So, said all of that to say, yes, I am still working. I am still doing mortgage loans. If you need a loan, if you know somebody who needs a loan, who wants to do a cash out refi, who's doing a purchase, fix and flip, I am still doing mortgage loans. I am here living in Lisbon. I still do mortgage loans. I'm 5 hours ahead of the East Coast. And so I typically start my day about 2 p.m. working. And I get up regular time. I go for a walk. I go have me a coffee, come back, have some breakfast, kind of get in the shower, kind of chill out in the morning. And then, like I said, I get it on my laptop around 2 p.m. time here, which is, morning over there. And I'm still working. I'm still doing mortgage loans. So I am still working here in Lisbon. I still do work. Said all that to say that. The other question people have asked me is, who came with me? So I am here alone. My kids didn't come with me as much as they love to travel. Like I said, my son is in Ibiza, Spain now. I typically travel with my daughter. I've traveled a lot with my daughter. If you've been following me, you've seen me travel a lot with her. And I am married, and so I came here alone. But I will say, some people have like literally just messaged like, "Where your husband? Where your husband?" Now I'm gonna address this briefly and vaguely. My husband is not with me. We are not together anymore. Don't be sad for me. We had an amicable split, and I have no regrets there. We were living in Florida. My husband is still in Florida. He's still at the house in Florida. I moved, and I will say that moving here was not a part of my plan when I said I was going to move. I actually didn't have a plan when I said I was going to move. My daughter and I had already booked our trip. We were going to do 3 weeks in Europe. I booked that back in October of last year with no intention of my marriage splitting or anything like that. So I wasn't on a scouting trip when I came here to find somewhere to live. Just kind of, again, God's timing is impeccable. So I came here, like I had said I was going to move before we actually came here and I didn't know where I was going to go. I do own a property in Virginia, but I didn't feel like I was going to move back to Virginia. I think I said before, I don't want to live anywhere where it snows or there's ice, and so I just felt like Virginia was not where God would send me back to. So I wasn't sure where I was going to go. And I was thinking I would stay somewhere in Florida. I love the beach, but I'm not from Florida either. Always wanted to live out of the country. And like I said, we had already booked this trip. Portugal was just kind of a place we would come and check off. But when I got here, I was just like, this is it. Like, this is everything I had said I wanted. Like, this was really it. And so I wasn't here, long before I kind of looked around and was like, this is where I need to move. So as it relates to the marriage, like I said, we had an amicable split. I think I had no regrets there at all. No regrets there. I think that that marriage was a part of my journey. I learned a lot in that marriage. And I think that marriage is about compromise. People always say marriage is about compromise. I think marriage is about compromise. I also believe that there are things that where you can have no point of compromise. There is just no point of compromise on some things. And so 2 things can be true at the same time. Marriage is about compromise. There's a lot of compromise required in marriage. And what can also be true is there are things in life where there is no point of compromise. And I think for me and my husband, we both, we got to a place where he wanted something and needed something to have peace and be happy in his life, and I wanted something and needed something to have peace and be happy in my life, and there was no point of compromise for those 2 things. So it came to a point where I think one of us would have to sacrifice what we needed for our own peace and happiness. And so, like I said, I think there can be a point in some situations where there is actually no point of compromise. And so we, again, decided to go our separate ways. Again, we are cool, no drama. If you're looking for drama or some tea, I don't really have it. I don't do drama, so I mean, that's the best I can give you. That's more than what I even need to say. If you know him, you talk to him, he might have something else to say. He might have a different story, and I'm okay with that. Like, anybody, your story is your story. So everybody's entitled to their story. So yeah, that's that. I do still wear a wedding ring. Somebody had asked me about that, because my personal belief, you ain't got nothing to do with what you think. You can believe what you want. You're free to do that. My personal belief is taking off your ring does not make you unmarried. And so as long as I am married, I will wear a ring. At the point that my marriage is officially divorced, I will take off my ring. But I feel like taking off your ring when you are still married, my opinion, and I'm entitled to that, my opinion is taking off your ring while you are still married puts you in a situation where you may be required to explain your situation. And I don't want to have to do that. And so I will wear my ring until I am not married, because again, taking it off doesn't make me not married. So that's just, so if you want to know when I'm divorced, when I don't have a ring on, that means I'm divorced. I'll take it off when I'm divorced. But my husband and I are not together, so now he is not here. I am here alone. And so the other question was, will I go back and forth between here and the U.S.? I mean, everybody I love is in the US. So I'm not here forever or to never return to the US. I will come back to the US, to be honest. I did hire an attorney to work on my visa, but my attorney was very clear to me, with me that it's very possible that my visa will not be approved in time for me to just continue to stay here. I may have to go back to the US because my visa has not been approved yet. And I'm perfectly okay with that. I have an apartment here, but having an apartment is a part of the visa process. You have to show that you have a residence here, so it's not a waste. I would have had to, I had to get an apartment anyway for the visa process. But yeah, of course I'm coming back to the U.S. Part of my reason for coming here now is, again, my kids are grown and doing well and living life and having a good time. I don't have grandbabies, but the minute I have grandbabies, I'm gonna want to be where they are. And like I said, everybody I love is in the U.S., so yes, I'm coming back to the U.S. I'm coming back to the U.S. this year. Like, I'll be back. Like, am I splitting my time? I wouldn't say I'm splitting my time. Splitting my time sounds like to me like I'll live here for 6 months, live in the U.S. for 6 months or something like that. That's not my intention. My intention is to live here and visit the U.S. some. So yeah, I will be back to the U.S., but not necessarily going back and forth. Another question I got was, how are things different? So I kind of talked about like the screens. Like, they don't have screens. Like, the windows typically don't have screens here. Air conditioning is not like everywhere. My apartment has air conditioning upstairs. I don't have air conditioning downstairs. I have an air conditioning unit in my bedroom, but it requires the hose to go out the window, and I don't have the thing that the hose has to go in to go out the window. So right now I ordered it, but I don't know when it's gonna get here. So right now I don't have air conditioning downstairs. I have fans downstairs. Is it hot? Yeah, it's been hot. I mean, it's been hot. I'm upstairs now, but it's been hot. And have I been sweating? Yeah, I have. And it's okay. Have I been unhappy? No, I haven't. I'm okay with it. Like, this is where I want to be. Like, I've been hot, sweaty, and still happy. So it's different, but this is where I want to be. So I'm still happy. So my neighbor, she one day we were out on the balcony, and she was saying they don't have air conditioning at all anywhere in their unit. So I mean, it's not, everybody doesn't have air conditioning, and some people okay with it. Obviously, people are okay with it. Some people do have air. Like I said, I only have it upstairs. I'm grateful for it being upstairs, but I sleep downstairs, and my kitchen is downstairs, and so it's hot down there. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm adjusting. It's fine. Someone asked me, is it cheaper here? Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I have been some places where the US dollar can go a long way. Portugal, not it. I think this is not, I wouldn't say this is the place to come if you are trying to stretch your US dollar. I would not say that. I'm not gonna lie. Some things are cheaper. Some things are cheaper, but this is not the place that I would encourage someone to move if their intention is to stretch their US dollar. There are cheaper places. You can move to Vietnam. You can move to Bali, Thailand. Those kind of places you go, that US dollar gonna make you feel like, $1 million. Like, you gonna feel like, the world is yours. Portugal, no, not so much. We're using euros here, and the US dollar is not so great. I think you can live for a reasonable amount of money, but it's not a big difference from what you're gonna pay. I don't think it's a big difference from what you're gonna pay in the US. Now, groceries are cheaper. Groceries cheaper to me all day long. Groceries gonna be cheaper. There are some other things that are cheaper. Like, I have Wi-Fi. I got Wi-Fi, internet, TV, and a cell phone. A cell phone here in Portugal for $50 a month. It was shocking to me because I went to the Wi-Fi store. They did my order. The people who lived here before left their Wi-Fi box. I tried to tell the lady, I already got a Wi-Fi box in my house. And she was just like, no, we can give you a new one. I'm like, but I have one already. And she was like, no, we can give you a new one. Now, I'm standing there, and in my US mind, I'm thinking, they're going to give me a new one because they're going to make me pay for this new one, even though I got one in my apartment already. But they don't. It was no equipment fee, and somebody came out with a new box and installed. It was no installation fee. And then she was just like, it's $50 a month. And if you want 2 cell phones, it's $52 a month. And I'm like, no, I only need one. I only need one. But it's $50 a month. Now, I didn't pay a deposit. Like I said, I didn't pay an installation fee. I didn't pay a equipment fee. And so some things are cheaper, but I kind of feel like it kind of balance. It's not a whole lot cheaper. Like I said, you're not going to come here and live like you balling out because you got the US dollar. Nah. No, that's not. This Portugal is not the place where you're going to come to stretch your US dollar. A whole lot of other reasons why I think Americans have moved here, but not because it's cheaper. I won't go with that. And I think that's it. Like I said, I had people call me and ask me a few things, and I think I've addressed those things. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to share. Somebody asked me about, my favorite things. Like I said, I've only been here for, again, 12, 13 days. I'm still learning things. I'm still a tourist. Somebody called me yesterday and said that they're coming this week. And I'm like, I can't tell you where to go. I can't tell you what to see, what to do. I'm still learning. I'm going to join them when they come. I'm going to hang out with them so I can learn some more stuff about Lisbon myself. So I will definitely keep posting as I learn more. As I, just kind of explore more and do more, I'll keep posting. Like I said, every day I'm learning something different. I'm excited to learn the language here. I think that's important. I think it's important to learn the language where you live. Because again, in my neighborhood, everybody doesn't speak English, and I shouldn't assume that they would or that they should. I live in their country, so I need to learn the language here. And that's it. I am happy to be here. I think life is interesting. I am, again, really, really strong in my faith. I believe God for everything. Again, when things go my way, I thank God. When things don't go my way, I thank God. And so everything in my journey has not been positive, or I won't say hasn't always been like something to smile at, but I, again, take those things as lessons that are taking me to my next journey. Again, do I have any regrets? I don't really live in regret. I think everything is a learning lesson. I don't dwell in regret. I actually read a book a couple years ago by Trevor Noah. I think his autobiography is Born a Crime. And he said something in that book that really, really resonated with me about regret. And I'll say it as best I can. I maybe off some, but in that book he says, I don't regret anything I've ever done in life, any choice I've ever made, but I am consumed with regret for the things I didn't do, the choices I didn't make, and the things I didn't say. We live so afraid of failure and rejection, but regret is the thing that we should fear the most. Failure is an answer. Rejection is an answer. But regret is an eternal question that you will never have the answer to. You will always wonder, what if only, and what would have. And you will never, never know. And it will haunt you the rest of your days. And that, when I read that, I was like, wow, like that really resonated with me, because like I said, I try not to live in regret. And so, I didn't want to be in a place where I could move to Portugal. I could live out of the country, but I'm afraid because, again, I came here alone. I don't know anybody here. I had a cell phone from Portugal, and I don't have anybody to give my number to. I don't have anybody here calling me on my cell phone from Portugal. It just came with my Wi-Fi. And so I moved here by myself, but I didn't want to regret. I don't want to be in the U.S. saying, I wonder what it would be like if I had moved to Portugal. I wonder what my life would be like if I had taken a chance and, when I had the opportunity and gone to live in Portugal. But I'm going to stay in the U.S. because that's where I'm comfortable. That's what I know. That's where I'm familiar. I didn't want to have that regret. And so, am I here forever? One of my stores called me this morning and she was just like, are you there permanently? And I was like, permanent sounds so forever, like permanent. Like I wouldn't say I'm here permanently. But I didn't want to wonder what my life would have been like if I had moved to Portugal. And so how long I'll be here, I don't know. I mean, I may live here a year, 2 years, 5 years. I don't know. 6 months maybe. I don't know. But I won't. Like I said, I don't live in regret. I won't wonder what would have happened if I had gone to Portugal to live. I won't wonder what would life be if I lived in Portugal. I'm gonna know. And again, failure is an answer. Rejection is an answer. But regret is the thing that you never have an answer to. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to live in regret. And so I do things I want to do. I make the choices. I do the best I can with the information I have. I make the choices I make based on, the situation I'm in. But I don't want to live in fear of failure or rejection. And so here I am in Lisbon. All right, so that's all. If you guys have any other questions, drop your comments, like, subscribe. I will address more. Like I said, I'll come back with other videos as I learn more about life in Lisbon. Thanks for watching.